I think that Ariana Grande needs to put more thought into how to add 1/2 an ounce of fat back onto her body than she does thinking about President Trump being impeached.
Former Fox propaganda host and MAGA podcaster Megyn, spelled with a Y, Kelly, is at it again, folks. And by it, I mean melting down and launching gross personal attacks against female celebrities for simply sharing their political views.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals.
And today's target of MAGA female empowerment in Megyn's insane, envious ire was none other than much more famous than her pop star, Ariana Grande. The Wicked star brought out Megyn's inner witch and sparked her MAGA culture war fury by simply reposting AOC's call for Trump's impeachment on her Instagram story. And Megyn's reaction was even more deplorable than her previous profane meltdown against Taylor Swift.
And I don't give a shit who gets upset. This is disgusting. If she wants to vote Harris Walz, she can do it all she wants. But to say the reason she's doing it is because of Tim Walz's stance on LGBTQ, F you, Taylor Swift.
Nothing like women supporting women. But here is how Megyn retaliated against Grande yesterday. And while you're enjoying this crash out, be sure to let me know all your thoughts in those comments down below. And while you're there, I just want you to think about how embarrassing it would be if this video got more likes and subscriptions than hers.
I have a suggestion for you on your first guest after Tucker, maybe tomorrow or the next show. And I think that person should be Ariana Grande, because she's got a lot of thoughts, Emily, a lot of thoughts on Trump's bombing of Iran. And she has endorsed the AOC tweet saying that he should be impeached. Ariana Grande, who, as far as I know, has done nothing other than sing and dance, which is fine. She seems to be very good at that. Would like us to listen to her political opinions now, in particular, her constitutional opinions on whether he's gone too far. And the reason she's qualified to make this conclusion is because of the segments she did for years on Nickelodeon as follows.
Sometimes I wonder if you can get juice from a potato.
Did that air on Nickelodeon?
Come on, give up the juice.
Yeah.
Yikes. I'm thirsty.
In another video, Ariana's pouring water on herself in what seems like a very sexual manner. And people started saying, this feels inappropriate for children.
That's from the Quiet Onset documentary about the Nickelodeon problems. And she was exploited as a young person. It's not nice. It's actually quite sad. But now she's decided to take that troubled youth and turn it around to make constitutional judgments about our president. Your thoughts?
All right, we'll continue this in a second, because as always, it gets worse. But first of all, Megyn, f*** you for trying to demean Ariana Grande by showing out-of-context clips of her being exploited by Nickelodeon's gross, disgusting producer, Dan Schneider. You're already a disgusting piece of human garbage, and I'd say you should be ashamed of yourself, but clearly, you have none. Because Megyn's counterpart here actually tries to bring the conversation back to the issues at hand, and just wait until Megyn drags both of them face first back into the mud.
Well, I would love to know if she ever got juice out of the potato, because that is genuinely a good question that I hadn't thought of before. But other than that, I mean, we're about to go back to, I mean, this depends obviously on what the escalation looks like. And we just talked about that. And I know you talked about that with VDH, but if we all remember, the Zoomers don't, what it was like though in around 2005, when public opinion on the Iraq war started to change, it was just a constant onslaught of celebrity armchair punditry about what's happening and the president. And again, like some of the division that people sense in our politics today, it's amusing to some extent to hear Zoomers like be so exhausted and fatigued with it, because I mean, people remember what it was like in the mid 2000s, and it was really, really ugly. I feel like we have amnesia kind of culturally about how ugly politics and culture was during that time in the Iraq War and the Afghanistan War. And it was a lot of that fueled by celebrities wading into these waters in really divisive ways that were also very, I think, offensive to everyday Americans. I mean, we don't have to relitigate what happened with the Dixie Chicks, but part of what did happen there is people took offense to the fact that they were overseas and they were talking about the American president in a way where they were speaking to an audience in, I think it was London, it was in England, and it was just infuriating to a lot of people who like literally burned Dixie Chicks CDs. And I don't think that stemmed exactly from a disagreement with the politics of what they said, as much as it was like, how dare you? How dare you trash talk the American president to people in the UK? Things could get really ugly culturally very soon, too.
I think that Ariana Grande needs to put more thought into how to add 1/2 ounce of fat back onto her body than she does thinking about President Trump being impeached. Obviously, she is in the middle of a crisis. I'm sorry, but this woman looks ill. She is beyond skinny. She looks dangerously thin. And someone needs to do an intervention to help her. I'm not saying this to be snarky. I genuinely think someone needs to help this woman. She's obviously troubled. And I think weighing in on this is just her latest folly. She was caught on camera a couple of years ago saying, I hate Americans. Now here she is talking about Trump needing to be impeached. There's a lot that went on, I think, on that Nickelodeon set that's never been fully threshed out. And I think Ariana Grande should work on her own well-being and keep her constitutional thoughts to herself.
And set aside the irony of this witch saying she's not being snarky or that she cares about Ariana Grande's personal health and it's not political.
And I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of her running mate, Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Women supporting women. My f***ing brain cell hurts.
So this woman is fine with his plan to take custody of the children from parents who don't want them to chop off their body parts.
No, you babbling bimbo. She supports Tim Walz because he gives kids free school lunches so they don't end up being a bigoted moron like you, because unlike your couch weirdo VP pick, Walz doesn't resign himself to school shootings being just a fact of life.
That's what led Taylor Swift to endorse him. Can I tell you something? I criticized her about 6 months ago, and I said, people should boycott her. It was an offhanded comment. People went nuts. Some lunatic dropped a note in my personal mailbox outside my house begging me not to boycott Taylor Swift, as though I have that power. I'm allowed to criticize Taylor Swift.
Yes, Megyn, you are allowed to criticize Taylor Swift. Fortunately for your kind, stupidity isn't illegal in the US. Are you actually upset about someone dropping a note in your mailbox when your people did this to the vice president?
I'm telling you, if Pence cave, we're gonna drag through the streets.
Fair warning, Megyn. Don't with the Swifties.
And I don't give a who gets upset. This is disgusting. If she wants to vote Harris Walz, she can do it all she wants. But to say the reason she's doing it is because of Tim Walz's stance on LGBTQ, F you, Taylor Swift.
But the entire last minute of that clickbait segment is her doing an ad read to sell people on investing in gold.
A threat to the US dollar's global dominance in over 80 years. On July 6th, BRICS nations, that's Russia, China, India, and Iran, and some more, are expected to unveil their plans to circumvent the US dollar, thus cratering, its value. Some report that they've already been laying the groundwork as their central banks have been methodically divesting from the US dollar and US bonds in favor of gold. How can you protect your IRA or 401k from the fallout from this landmark shift? One option is to diversify with gold from Birch Gold Group. Historically, gold has been a safe haven in times of high uncertainty, which is right now. Get a free info kit on tax-sheltered gold IRAs by texting the word MK letters to 989898. July 6th could mark a monumental shift happening among nations that control 1/3 of the world's GDP.
There's a British term of endearment for people like Megyn Kelly that unfortunately here in the States is a little taboo, but I think you guys might be able to guess where I'm leading with that. Though, since it is Tuesday and Megyn's probably going to be a wicked witch and crash out again, I will say, see you next Tuesday, Megyn. That's Megyn with a Y, by the way, as in, why the fuck does anyone watch her show? On that note, thank you for watching. I think it's important to call out the MAGA hypocrisy and show how they deflect and make these culture war issues into hate farming on the internet at the expense of people and women that they disagree with politically for simply sharing their opinions, which is Megyn's whole job. So let's show her how we feel about her opinion by making this video get more likes and subscribes than hers. She's at about 6,000 likes right now. And if it works, I'll be sure to update you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.